Hello and welcome into the KE Report. I'm your host, Shad Markwitz, and we're getting an update today from West Red Lake Gold Mines, traded on the TSX.V under the ticker WRLG, and on the OTCQB under the ticker WRLGF. And we're joined today with the president and CEO of West Red Lake Gold Mines, Shane Williams. And Shane, it's great to get you back on the show for an update on the company. And really what inspired this call was you put out some news on September the 4th talking about the different Madsen Mine restart activities that the team is working on. And there's a whole list of different things we can dig into here, Shane, but I guess the key takeaway for me was there's a lot of stuff going on the ground with equipment, with underground in the mine, where you are working on getting this mine up and restarted into production by the middle of next year. Let's maybe dig into some of these different initiatives that the company has on the ground.
Yeah, great to be back on for your listeners. Yeah, look, there is a lot going on. I'm up at site regularly. And so one of the keys is as you move the project forward, given particularly the history of the project, I think it's important to do it on a sort of a steady de-risking sort of strategy. So, we wanted to get our shareholders and our investors to show them that we are doing it on a kind of a de-risking strategy and we're moving forward. So we've done quite a lot of work on site in such a short period of time. The team have done a great job, actually. We're really ramping up. Like we have 125 people on site now, so it's really moving. Some of the key parts of that de-risking and getting the project ready for a potential restart, there's a couple of elements that I'll walk through a little bit, if that's okay with you and your listeners, to go through it. We put out that release on September the 4th. And actually had some good pictures as well for some of your listeners to actually show everyone talks about it, but I wanted to show the level of work that's done. Key of it is our tailings dam. We have to put our tailings dam. We have to do another lift on our tailings dam. And, Red Lake is pretty cold in the winter time. So, with the recent financial raises, we got the opportunity to move that work forward. And the team have come on really quickly. And actually, we're nearly through to that. That project is nearly complete. So, we decided to put that in for life of mine. So that really sets us up for life of mine tailings for the rest of the project. Really, we won't have to worry about tailings for quite a while. So that's a key de-risker as we go forward. And we have an underground connection drift. We're ongoing at the moment. That's ramping up again. I'm not sure if Will at one of the earlier calls went into it, but it connects two parts of the mine. It helps with ventilation, movement of ore. It's another sort of de-risking, and we've brought in a lot of new equipment to that. So, we're really moving away from this exploration sort of focused de-risking drilling into more restart activities. Another key one was lots of new equipment. I had lots of nice fancy pictures in that press release of all our new equipment. When we inherited the project, given the history and given the bankruptcy process, a lot of the equipment was actually removed from site. So when we came in, there was very little sort of new equipment. There was a lot of older equipment. So over the last number of months, we've been buying new equipment and really setting ourselves up. So again, lots of movement on new equipment arriving, lots of nice pictures going. And probably one of the last pieces is a camp. Today it's a camp is essential for running a mine, and the previous operators never really got a camp in place. They were planning it, but never got it in. So we've gone ahead and ordered a camp. It should be in place by sort of end of year, early next year, and that will really allow us the ability to bring in highly qualified staff to work on the mine. So these are some of the key activities we're moving towards, and these are all identified early when we came in on the project. There was some key, obviously the drilling, which had been ongoing for the last 12 months effectively, but there were some key pieces of infrastructure that were really missed during the pure gold time, and we identified them early, and we've started to kind of tick those boxes and buy those pieces of equipment and infrastructure to really set the mine up to be successful.
Well, and Shane, I want to dig into a couple of them just a little bit further, piece by piece here. One of them, that connection drift, we have talked about it briefly, but I think it'd be important to explain the significance of connecting the east to the west. And I guess we could tie into that some of the mine dewatering that you're doing, because you're also able to go down even further at depth. So I guess connecting east and west, but also being able to go down further levels in the mine. Maybe speak to that.
Yeah, the connection drift is really a key piece of infrastructure. I'm not sure, it's hard to explain to your listeners really, but these are two separate portals, two separate underground accesses. And, the flow of ore through the system, ventilation, pumping water, infrastructure, it's essential that you have these two portals connected. And they were never connected. And so one of the challenges was you have to bring ore up one way. The mill is close to the west portal. You have another east portal. So you're always moving ore up one portal across on surface to the mill. And that creates a lot of operating costs, disadvantages. And so that really, the connection drift, it's just over 1,000 meters connecting the two underground. It really allows us to move ore very efficiently underground. It also opens up, as you said, the ability to pump water from one area to the other. The shaft is our main source of pumping for water and allows us to move water and improves ventilation on the ground. So it ticks a lot of boxes. And so that sets us up from an efficient operating mine effectively underground. And also really in a good opportunity that Will might have talked about is it opens up the ability to do exploration across that exploration, which will act as an exploration drift as well, because there's between the two portals, there's very little infrastructure between the two of them as there was no development. So it allows the teams to also get in there and do some real exciting exploration where we actually know there is potential upside. So it does tick a lot of boxes in that sort of phase, really.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the underground drilling that you'll be able to do, because a lot of the work you have been doing has been definition drilling, trying to gain high confidence ounces. You just recently wrote a piece about the high confidence ounces the team has defined now. Really, most of the prior mining was done at the McVeigh zone, but your team is focused on the Austin, Maine, North Austin, and South Austin. And you're going to be pulling from all of those different areas as you develop the mine and go into production. Maybe just speak to how you could also test areas like the 8 zone or some of the 8 zone lookalike, some other areas from underground.
Yeah, look, we believe there's real opportunity and a real upside left in the Madsen project. And you've seen that from our drill results. We've had spectacular drill results. And these are definition holes getting ready for this high confidence ounces to restart. But look, our focus has been on that definition. But now as we move forward into the back end of this year and into early next year, we are going to switch that up a bit. We have a lot of high confidence ounces now ready for restart. We're nearly at where we think we need to be. So we are switching a little bit of focus to this exploration now. We've recently announced that we've put a drill on surface around property. So this will allow us to target some key areas. And it's quite exciting. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks we'll have it. We've tapped into some nice exploration opportunities. And as we move forward, we tend to grow that. So the focus will probably still stay on definition, but we are planning to open up really exploration. And as you said, the 8 zone is a really exciting opportunity that has not had a lot of work on it. So the team are looking at that at the moment. They're doing some analysis, and we're looking hopefully into late this year, early next year to get in and actually drill that 8 zone, which would be really exciting for the upside. As you said, we focus on de-risking and definition drilling, but I am really looking forward to the opportunity to get in and test some of these targets, which will be really exciting.
Well, and another area of de-risking that the company is working on is you just announced on the 19th of September that you're going to start doing some test mining and bulk sampling. And so this is really where the rubber meets the road. And this is going to be a data gathering experience, as you say in the press release. Maybe talk about some of the data you hope to achieve by doing some test mining and a bulk sample program.
Yeah, no, this is again part of this de-risking. And, some of your listeners might know the history of this deposit. There was some challenges around reconciliation and the resource. A lot of it was to do with the area they were mining. But I think a key de-risking part of this project is to be able to go underground, mine. Now that we're in there, we're developing underground, be able to mine some particular areas and then be able to go back and reconcile those against the resource model, the new resource model that we're developing and the new understanding of the ore body. And that will really give us and your listeners and our shareholders confidence that we've got the model right, we've done the drilling, they all line up, and that allows us to really launch into production. And we're doing it on a number of areas because underground mining, the previous operators went into McVeigh, which was one area, and they were kind of, because they hadn't underground and development. We have a number of different areas, which again is risk mitigation. We'll be able to mine from a number of different areas in parallel, which will certainly de-risk the mining and the development in those areas. So the test program is really key to that as we start that process to really understand the ore body, how we're going to mine, and what we expect underground.
Yeah, and there's a good image for folks, and I'll attach it below this interview so people can see the different areas. They've basically got purple or pink ellipses around parts of the McVeigh zone, the South Austin zone, the Austin Main zone. So you'll be able to see the different areas they'll be test mining and doing bulk sampling. And I guess I actually started following this mine chain back when Claude Resources was working on it, and they only got down, I think, to like 7 levels. I think that Pure Gold got down maybe a little further, but they were mostly in that McVeigh zone. But with your dewatering, when we had Will on last time, he said you've already dewatered it down to the 13 level and that this mine actually goes down 26 levels. So maybe just speak to some of the opportunities as you move forward at depth in the mine.
Yeah, and you can see that in that image you put there. Really, as you said, down to 7 level, there's been a lot of mining. A couple of groups have gone through it already. Claude has been through it. Pure Gold. They never really got down to that level. They never really got down much below that 7, 8 level. They were mainly in McVeigh and they got into a small bit of South Austin. So really, as we're developing down now, the team have been developing for over a year now. We're dewatered nearly down to level 14 as we're doing the dewatering ahead of ourselves. From a development perspective, we're nearly down to actually level 13 now. So that really opens up between 7 and 13 and onwards. That really opens up the ore body for all this additional ore that nobody really got at. And you can see that in the image when you go down to level 12, level 13. The ore body really opens up and there's lots of opportunity. And even when we go deeper, as I said, the mine goes down 26 levels. So once we start to get down below 13, all the way down, that's brand new ore. That really opens up the ore body, and on a vertical ounce per meter, it really blows out. So this is the start of this mine, and the restart is important, but really the exploration upside that we see. And some of our recent results actually have seen that as we've got down into these deep zones, we're getting very, very high grade over very good mineable widths. And we do expect that to continue as we go down deeper. So yeah, very de-risking now and moving forward, but really exciting opportunities for exploration upside as we go forward.
Well, and Shane, I want to circle back to something you said just a moment ago about some of the challenges the prior operators had with the reconciliation. I remember having you on the show a couple of months ago, and we were talking about the mine cleanup that your team did. You hired a third-party company to come in and do it, and they found that some of the screens were put in backwards, and there was a bunch of trapped gold there. You actually poured some gold out of it because there was so much gold trapped in it. I don't think a lot of people understood that, so I think it'd be nice just to remind people that when you did that mine cleanup, you really optimized the way the mine should be running. Some of the equipment wasn't quite installed correctly. How could that help with the reconciliation?
Well, I mean, that is an important part of the process we went through. You know, a lot of these mills, as they run and then suddenly they go into care and maintenance, part of the issue with the previous operator was a reconciliation between the gold they're producing versus their mining. And there was a lot of challenges at the time on getting that reconciliation right. So when we bought the property, we went in and had a look, and we did see within the mills a buildup of material, which, you know, these are fairly brand new mills and it shouldn't have occurred. So we decided that we got in somebody and we would strip the mills and take all the gold out, and we managed to pour some gold. But the most important thing for me, though, of that was we kind of understood the problem. You know, part of the problem of that reconciliation was a lot of gold trapped in the system. So, you know, while it's good to get some gold and get some cash and get some money in the kitty, the most important thing was really to understand what went wrong, how it went wrong, and more importantly, how we can fix it and change it going forward. So that was a key part for me, that the team was able to recognize the problem and get in and fix the problem, which shows the commitment to our team to getting it right this time.
Well, let's also talk about some of that new equipment you alluded to. You've got a primary electric jaw crusher that's coming in, and it's gonna, crush it down to, I guess, 4 inch or less. And so, how does that help with the expected recoveries of the metals?
Well, it helps in a couple of different ways. As I said, the previous operator had a leased crushing arrangement there, which cost them quite a bit of money. And also they were doing a lot of transportation of that. So, the first part is it'll reduce our operating costs going forward. So that's key for the mine. But more importantly, this mill, as I've alluded to before, it's permitted for 800 tons a day. But actually, the previous operator ran the mill at nearly 1,200 tons a day. So a lot of upside with very little put in. They actually did the renovations to move this project to 1,200 tons a day. And with this crusher brought in, we kind of put it in a way so that if we want to, by crushing finer, we can actually move the mill another level up into different scales. So this gives us the real ability to ramp up the project from 800 to 1,200 to potentially 1,500 tons a day, which, as we talk about this upside and we grow this exploration and we grow the upside, this gives us the ability straight away to ramp up quickly down the road without having to do major upgrade. And this is one part of it. So that's really what we built into buying this crusher. The finer you can crush it, goes into the mill, allows you to push more material through the mill, and that gives the upside basically as we move forward to this 1,100. I mean, they ran at 1,100 tons a day. That makes a big difference, 200 or 300 ton a day different at those sort of grades, and potentially to 1,500 tons a day. So real opportunity to grow the upside of the project.
Yeah, just the ability to put more throughput into the mill and then have it at a finer size and get better recoveries. I think it's going to be interesting to watch the mine restart activities continue to grow. Now, we do get a lot of questions. I have had a couple people email me, Shane, asking roughly how much capital is still needed over the course of the next year to be able to get things up and running if you had to ballpark it.
Yeah, it would be somewhere between 50 to 70 million Canadian dollars in that sort of range. Look, we have a very strong balance sheet at the moment. We have $25 million. I'm talking in Canadian now. We probably need that. That will last us quite a while. And we need that 50 million. And that's not just capital. That's kind of working capital as we ramp up. That's into production. That's free cash flowing. So that's quite as you normally do, you ramp up these mills, you start slower, you build up, you get into commercial production, and then you're in free cash flow. So it's not really capital, as your listeners would understand from a project where they've, $200 or $300 of pure capital. This is more on the restart on working capital as we ramp up. And that changes, as you know, today's gold price is $2,600. Obviously, as you're ramping up, you're making revenue and you're making gold. And so the higher price of gold helps offset some of that revenue. So at the moment, it's 50 to 70. By the time we restart, who knows where the gold price will be, which offsets further that amount of money. So yeah, it's certainly an exciting time to be starting a gold mine for sure.
Yeah, it is, Shane. $2,600 gold makes things a lot easier for any producing company. And then I guess final question here is, we get a lot of pushback on West Red Lake Gold where people just don't believe that it can be restarted because there's such challenges with both prior operators. So what would you say to the skeptics out there, Shane? The people that think, yeah, I'll believe it when I see it. I mean, I know you have to, it's a show me story at this point, but what other de-risking activities do you have? What would you say to give people confidence that your team really has dialed in not just the resources, but also the process?
Yeah, and you and me both. I get a lot of those as well as I go around to the conferences. But I would say this, the work we've done over the last 12 months, when we bought the project originally, there was a lot of that. I was recently down at the Precious Metals Conference in Beaver Creek there. And what I am getting now more and more is people are beginning to see the work we're doing and appreciate the level of work and the level of technical work we're doing. We've also had quite a few groups who've come in and looked at the resource effectively and, done independent. We've got quite a few independent reviews done. ourselves, and all have kind of tied together that, yep, the resources, as we say, it's all in place. So that gives us a lot of confidence that we've kind of got the resource part correct. So, as a restart, as you say, people are going to wait and see. But I am more and more confident that as we move forward, people will see the stages we're doing. As I said, that's why we're doing the test mining program. That'll be another de-risking on the path to restart. That'll show we got the reconciliation, we've got the resource right, we've got the reconciliation, we're doing the mining to allow us. We also have a pre-feasibility study that we're working on, and that should come out, in another month or so. And that will also tick another box to show people that, yep, we've done the work, we're moving forward, we have a good project. And, these are all stuff that help to convince people that we're doing the steps that we're doing to move forward.
All right. Well, I appreciate you breaking that down for us, Shane, and walking us through all the work your team is doing on the ground, underground, and drilling. So there's a lot of activity going on with West Red Lake Gold Mines. And if you want to follow along with all the news, definitely click on the link below this interview. It takes you right over to the company website, straight to their news section, so you too can follow along and you can dig into some of those news releases we just discussed. I will attach a couple of the photos of the equipment and the site layout and the camp that the team is building, just for people to get some visuals on all the work going on. And Shane, keep us posted as more news comes out. We'll get you guys back on for an update, and looking forward to our next conversation.
Excellent. Thank you very much. It's great to be on.